Have you ever seen a Sportster S or the new Nightster out on the open road? Yeah, neither have I. These bikes were introduced by Harley to replace the Evo-powered Sportsters, which were discontinued in 2022, and by all accounts they are not selling well. Clearly, Harley customers, at least North American ones, prefer the more traditional Evo Sportsters even if they are slow and relatively poor handling by today's standards. And there are some rumors, completely unsubstantiated, that Harley is aiming to bring those bikes back. The reason they were cancelled in the first place was that they failed to meet Euro emission standards. But since then, a Chinese clone Sportster has been produced for sale in Europe under the name SWM Stormbreaker, and now a new and more custom 21-inch wheel version is also supposed to be coming. Yes, these engines are exact Evo clones, although they make a bit less power than the 1200 Sporties they're based on. Presumably, this is due to them being more choked up to pass emissions, an easy fix with a Stage 1 kit, something Harley riders do to their bikes anyways. But it's not the Evo Sportster that is the topic of this video, because there is another bike that has captured the American public's imagination, and it's a bike that quite frankly Harley should build and make their own. And ironically, it's a Buell, the Super Cruiser, an homage to the old FXR chassis which was partially designed by Eric Buell himself. This bike is, quite frankly, what the Sportster S should have been, and a Harley Davidson version with the Rev Max 1250 engine would sell far better than either of the two current Sportsters in the lineup, or the Super Cruiser for that matter. To find out why, stay tuned. And as always, if you're enjoying the content, please consider supporting the channel by subscribing, liking the video, and sharing it with friends. First, let me just say that there is nothing wrong with the Sportster S. I'm on record as saying that I like the fact that Harley Davidson took a chance with the design and gave us something daring. That bike is also my wife's favorite looking Harley, probably because she is not much into cruisers and prefers naked bikes. But it would seem that the American cruiser buyer is not in agreement with us, and that the Sportster S may go the way of the V-Rod, a cool, innovative design which never took off with the customers. Except that the Sportster S also handles around corners, unlike the V-Rod. Nevertheless, this bike is pricey and not a traditional Harley, so while it has a chance of some sales in Europe where performance matters more, in North America where Harliness matters more, it's a slow going. But what if this bike looked like this? Same engine as the Sportster S, similar components, no Eric Buell rim brakes, a regular mounted Brembo up front would do. Maybe even a similar price to a Sportster S or a couple of thousand more, and a look that screamed modern FXR. You think it would sell better than the Sportster S or the Nightster? I'd bet a lot of money that it would. The Buell Super Cruiser is based on the Hammerhead 1190 RX Superbike and shares many components with it, including the swing arm. The 175 horsepower sport bike engine is not a traditional American big twin cruiser motor and has to be revved high to get the power out of it, much like Harley's Revolution Max 1250. The prototype was running fully adjustable Öhlins suspension, though production models may downspec that in order to bring down the bike's price, which is supposed to be $24,000 US for early buyers and $26,000 later on. In addition, the exhaust system will not be the SC Project unit on the concept bike because noise and emissions regulations have to be met. I'm sure every owner who buys one will immediately replace the exhaust anyways. So the Super Cruiser by all accounts does not feel like a traditional American cruiser, but it looks much more like one than the Sportster S. And that's the crux of the matter. Cruisers have to look a certain way, and while the liquid-cooled Buell engine may not fit the traditional mold, the frame and overall profile and stance of the bike do. If you squint, you can see similarities to the old FXR or a modern lowrider S. The 17-inch wheels are not traditional but will handle well and provide lots of sporty tire choices, and even the non-traditional monoshock looks nicely integrated. Now there is a subset of Harley riders, call them Dyna Bros or what have you, that spend many thousands of dollars pimping their bikes out in club style like this and modifying them to be lighter and more powerful. And as cool as those bikes are, none of them will hold a candle to the Buell Super Cruiser, which weighs 450 pounds and will outrun any FXR, Dyna or Softail in a straight line or in the curves. No, the Buell engine does not look or feel traditional, but neither does a typical Harley mill with a Stage 4 on it. Hot cams change the character of the typical Harley big twin from a slow-revving, easygoing cruiser to a rip-snorting beast. So by offering a lighter and more powerful beast out of the box, Buell may have a hit on its hands. Problem is that riders don't know whether to trust that the bikes will be delivered or whether they'll find a place to service them. Plans and promises don't always pan out, and small companies like Buell go out of business all the time, leaving customers stranded. This is where Harley's size and huge dealership network is an asset. If Harley Davidson brings a bike to market, you know where you can buy and service it, and you know that parts will be available. It would not be too difficult for Harley engineers to design something like this around the Pan America or the Sportster S platforms. In fact, there seems to be a cottage industry of taking Pan America adventure bikes and turning them into cool roadsters or even sport tours. Truth is that the Pan America and Sportster S platforms make far better sporty motorcycles than the Milwaukee 8 platform. They're lighter, and the RevMax motor is fast revving and smooth and produces 150 horsepower in the Pan America, though it is somewhat detuned in the 121 horsepower Sportster S. So, a Harley Super Cruiser could have 150 horsepower in the Pan America tune and weigh about 500 pounds wet, which is what the Sportster S weighs. Not quite as light or powerful as the Buell, but pretty respectable numbers for a performance cruiser. And it doesn't have to cost that much. There's no reason why such a bike needs to be more expensive than the Sportster S, which costs $17,000 US and $20,000 Canadian, much less expensive than the $24,000 to $26,000 the Buell Super Cruiser will cost. Harley has the factories and the tooling to make a bike like this, and the economies of scale to undercut the Buell price. A Harley Super Cruiser would still retain a link to Harley's past while providing modern performance and getting a younger demographic of Dyna Bros interested in the motor company. Harley could give a couple of these to some of the top stunt riders and use the resulting footage and the promotional materials to sell the bike as a muscle cruiser or a cool hooligan bike. Even riders who have no intention of doing tricks will like having a bike that is capable of doing them. Harley Davidson has a history of paying attention to the custom scene and incorporating it into their own designs, and this is one trend which makes sense. If Sportster S sales are lagging, a Harley Super Cruiser replacement could do much better. Unfortunately for Buell, not many people would buy their product if Harley Davidson came out with a similar bike. The Super Cruiser is super cool, but the display looks clunky and the design looks rough around the edges. Harley is good at styling and fit and finish and has the display from the Sportster S all ready to go, so a potential Harley competitor could look the business as long as they can minimize that radiator. Painting it black and removing the plastic cowling and locating it between the frame down tubes the way Buell did would be the best solution. So, to sum up, if I was making the calls at Harley, I'd sell the Sportster S and Nightster overseas only, which would justify moving production out of the US. Then Harley could use the facilities that were freed up for building a Super Cruiser competitor, and while we're at it, for bringing back the Evo Sportsters, either for the North American market only or for the whole world. Yes, those bikes are poorly handling and underpowered, I know, I used to have one, but they have more personality than the Milwaukee 8 bikes, and frankly, people love them. They are what people think of when they picture a Harley. A bit heavy, a bit clunky, objectively not the best bike, but a clean, air-cooled, and beautifully finished American design. I'd love to see them back. But what about you? Do you like the Buell Super Cruiser? Would you pay $20,000 for a Harley Revolution Max version of this bike if Harley got the styling right? Do you like Harley's current liquid-cooled Sportsters, or do you agree with me that they should bring back the old Evo? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Check out these other videos that may be of interest to you. Ride safe, and may the spokes be with you.